Hey guys, how you doing? Mario here. Just want to share with you guys a little story. Again, it's a story that I think many of us are familiar with, but I just want to share this with people that, for one reason or another, have decided to walk away from the faith. In the book of Luke, chapter 15, we find a story that Jesus is telling, and it's called the prodigal son. And the story simply goes like this: there's a young man who goes up to his dad, and he's like, "Dad, can you give me my inheritance? I want to go, I want to live life, I want to party, I want to do whatever I feel like it." His dad, although wasn't happy about the son's choice, gave him his inheritance and he took off. And I wonder nowadays, as a father, what I would feel like if my kid would come up to me and ask me something like that. It would hurt my heart. But sometimes lessons have to be learned through experiences. And this guy takes off and he leaves and he lives a life. He goes to another city, he starts spending money like there's no tomorrow. But as soon as his money was done, all his friends were going, all the partying was done, and he had to fend for himself. He wasn't used to that. He was always used to dad helping him and stuff. He had a really good life that he left behind. But he chose to go out and test what was out in the world. And many of us in our spiritual walk, in our faith, sometimes, especially if we have been raised in the church and grown up in the safety of a Christian community per se, we go out there because we want to experience things and we want to find out what the world is doing and why they like it. And this guy did exactly that, and he lost all of his inheritance. But I want to read to you guys is the reaction of his dad, because this kid is working the fields and he's like feeding animals, and he starts feeding the cows and the chickens and the pigs, and he looks at the food that he's feeding the pigs and he wants it. He's like, "Oh man, that looks delicious." And the guy comes to his senses, and I'm like, "Whoa, what's going on?" He's like, "Honestly, I could do so much better at my father's house, and he has people that work for him that live better than this, and they have plenty of food." And I want to read to you guys what he says and what happens when he returns home ashamed and defeated by life, by the poor choices that he made. But how graceful is our Father that he waits with open arms. Listen to this. Luke 15:17. He began to think about what he had done. He said to himself, "My father pays many men who work for him. They all have the food they want and more than enough. I'm about dead because I'm so hungry. I will get up and go to my father. I will say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am not good enough to be called your son, but may I be as one of the workmen you paid to work.' The son got up and went to his father. While he was yet a long way off, his father saw him. The father was full of loving pity from him. He ran and threw his arms around him and kissed him. The son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am not good enough to be called your son.' But the father said to the workman he owned, 'Hurry, get the best coat and put it on him. Put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. Bring the calf that is fat and kill it. Let us eat and be glad. For my son was dead and now he's alive again. He was lost, but now he's found. Let us eat and have a good time.'" And the reaction of the father is a loving father. And that is the love that Jesus has for you. If you have chosen to walk away from God, for whatever reason that may be, I just want to encourage you guys to just look to God. He's waiting for you with his arms wide open. The prodigal son chose to take his inheritance and go test his luck in the world. And I say to anyone that has walked away from the faith with hopes to find something better out in the world, to taste and see how good the Lord is. God loves you and he's waiting for you with his arms wide open. And he's going to have a feast when you return to him, for you are his child and he cares about you. So take this as encouragement. Do not be ashamed. Do not fret. For God loves you, and the church welcomes you with open arms if it's a church that is Christ-centered. Because we understand that at the end of the day, we all need Jesus, and we all could use the grace of God. God bless.